International travel is way down.
Back, everyone. Canadian tourism into the U.S. continues to decline, down more than 30% last month compared to 2024.
We've all heard that tourism is down in Las Vegas.
Here in New York, tourism is also being hit big time.
A lot of them will not come because of Trump.
Tourism in the United States is quietly collapsing. It's not the kind of crisis that makes breaking news, but the financial aftershocks are spreading fast. And in 2025, 7 U.S. states, some of the biggest names in travel, are now staring down the barrel of an economic disaster. California, Florida, New York, Nevada, Hawaii, Oregon, Michigan. Their tourism economies are unraveling. The reasons? Visa delays, a stronger dollar, rising costs, and growing uncertainty around U.S. travel policy. According to the World Travel and Tourism Council, the U.S. is the only major country expected to see a decline in international tourism spending in 2025. That's not just a statistic. It's a flashing red warning light for state budgets, jobs, and local communities. Today, we break down what's really happening and why these 7 U.S. states face economic collapse after the 2025 tourism meltdown. Part 1. Root causes of the crisis. So how did we get here? Why is the U.S., once the world's top tourism destination, now facing a severe decline in international visitors? It begins at the border. In 2025, the average wait time for a U.S. tourist visa in key countries like India, Brazil, and Colombia exceeds 250 days. And that's nearly 9 months.
If you're going to the US, be prepared. It could cost you an extra $250. It's called the Visa Integrity Fee.
It's not just a logistical issue, it's a deterrent. When travelers have to wait almost a year just to get permission to visit, they start looking elsewhere. Europe, Canada, Japan, all offering faster, easier, and often cheaper alternatives. Then there's the strong US dollar. In 2025, the dollar is at its highest sustained value in over a decade. That sounds great for Wall Street, but for tourists, it means America is expensive. Hotels cost more, flights cost more, meals cost more.
What surprised me was the food. The food has increased so much. The buffets are so expensive now. It's like, I don't know, unexpected maybe.
According to a report from the U.S. Travel Association, the average cost of a 7-day trip to the U.S. is up 28% compared to 2019, largely due to currency effects. Next, there's the policy uncertainty. With a possible return of Donald Trump in 2025, many international travelers are bracing for stricter border controls, increased tariffs, and tougher immigration rules, all of which create friction for global tourism. Even under the current administration, confusion around travel rules and visa processing has hurt America's reputation as a welcoming destination.
He created an atmosphere that's very hostile for us.
With everything going on south of the border, it just seemed to be a lot safer to just travel within Canada.
Add to that global inflation, high fuel prices, and a shift in traveler priorities after the pandemic. And the result is clear. The U.S. travel industry is in decline, and international tourists are staying away. According to the World Travel and Tourism Council, the United States is the only country among 185 global economies forecasted to see an absolute drop in international tourism spending in 2025. That's not just rare. Part 2, the 7 states at risk. Let's talk about the 7 states facing the most serious fallout from the 2025 tourism meltdown. These are places where international travel isn't just a bonus. It's the backbone of local economies. And when that disappears, the collapse begins. Number 1, California. California has long been America's tourism crown jewel. Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Diego, global names with global reach. But in 2025, international visitor spending in California is down more than $1.5 billion compared to pre-pandemic levels. Major cities have seen a 28% drop in foreign hotel bookings. The ripple effect? Staff layoffs in hospitality, early restaurant closures, declining sales tax revenue. San Francisco's tourism board recently cut its international marketing budget by 40%, citing unsustainable returns. This isn't just a dip, it's a downward spiral. Number 2, Florida. In Florida, the situation is just as grim. Once a magnet for Canadian, British, and German tourists, Florida is now seeing a 22% drop in European arrivals. Orlando's theme parks are less crowded, but not in a good way. Disney has quietly reduced hours, increased prices, and paused expansions. In Miami, luxury hotels are discounting during what used to be peak season.
We're seeing a decline in the Canadian traveler to our hotel. So we are really trying to encourage people to come to Fort Lauderdale and the beautiful beaches.
And with hurricane insurance costs soaring, the margin for recovery is thin. Florida's economy depends on tourism, and that pillar is starting to crack. Number 3, Nevada, Las Vegas. Las Vegas thrives on high rollers, business conventions, and international entertainment tourism. But in 2025, convention attendance from abroad is down nearly 40%. Casino revenue is at its lowest point since 2008. Hotels on the Strip are cutting weekday rates just to fill rooms. And with fewer flights from Asia and Europe, Vegas is no longer the go-to for global leisure travelers.
Well, that's right. There was a headline in Newsweek back on July 28th that said, quote, "Is Las Vegas in trouble?" The reason, obviously, our decline in tourism numbers, and it's not by just a little.
Some economists warn that if this trend continues, Nevada could face a $1.2 billion budget shortfall by mid-2026. Number 4, New York. New York City, the most visited city in America by international tourists. But not this year. International travel to New York is down 29% compared to 2019. Hotel occupancy in Manhattan is 25% lower than normal. Broadway has had to cancel or shorten runs due to poor ticket sales. Iconic museums are cutting opening hours and laying off staff. And NYC's small businesses, corner delis, tour guides, street vendors, are feeling the pinch hard. This isn't just bad news for the city. New York State gets nearly 10% of its tax revenue from tourism-related sectors. Number 5, Hawaii. Hawaii may be the hardest hit of all. Historically, it's been powered by international tourists, especially from Japan, South Korea, and Australia. But in 2025, flights from Asia are down more than 40%. That's not a typo. Hotels are running at half capacity during peak travel months. The Hawaii Tourism Authority estimates a $1.1 billion shortfall in 2025 tourism revenue. In response, the state has cut funding for public programs and infrastructure projects. And with limited domestic tourism potential due to high airfare, Hawaii is running out of options. Number 6, Oregon. Oregon doesn't grab headlines like New York or Vegas, but its tourism sector is quietly suffering. The state's ecotourism industry has taken a major hit, especially among European travelers. Tour bookings to Crater Lake and Columbia River Gorge are down over 30%. Local Native American communities that rely on seasonal tourism are reporting significant income loss. And with wildfires increasing, travel insurance prices are discouraging even adventurous tourists. Oregon's tourism decline is slower, but no less dangerous. Number 7, Michigan. Detroit and Grand Rapids were quietly rebuilding as Midwestern tourism hubs. But with fewer international events, fewer flights, and rising costs, the recovery has stalled. Michigan's travel-related industries are losing tens of millions of dollars in potential revenue. Hotels that reopened after COVID are now reducing staff again. And smaller cities, like Traverse City or Holland, are seeing entire summers wiped out. Michigan's comeback story is now in jeopardy. Each of these 7 states is facing different challenges, but they're all tied to the same root problem, a collapse in international travel. And if this trend continues into 2026, the consequences could shift from economic pressure to full-blown fiscal emergency. Part 3, the economic domino effect. A drop in tourism doesn't just hurt hotels and airlines. It sets off a chain reaction, one that can destabilize entire state economies. Let's start with the basics. Tourism is a tax machine. Visitors pay hotel taxes, restaurant taxes, rental car fees, airport charges, sales taxes, all without demanding the same long-term public services that residents do. In states like Hawaii, tourism makes up nearly 9% of GDP. In Nevada, it's over 7%. In Florida, around 6%. When those dollars vanish, local governments feel it fast, and they're already responding. Hawaii has delayed several infrastructure upgrades, including airport expansions and road repairs. Nevada's public schools are seeing budget freezes, even as enrollment grows. Florida has proposed cuts to environmental and flood prevention programs, which are crucial as hurricane risks rise. But it's not just the budgets. Employment is taking a hit too. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, travel and hospitality jobs are down in 5 of the 7 states we've discussed, despite overall U.S. job growth. That's especially dangerous because tourism jobs often provide first-time employment or second income for working families.
Very concerned because it's slow. When I drive down the strip going to work in the morning and I barely see visitors out there.
And as tourism slows, real estate feels the strain too. In cities like Miami, Honolulu, and Las Vegas, entire neighborhoods depend on Airbnb and short-term rentals. Now, property owners are struggling with vacancies. Small business closures are increasing in high tourism zip codes, and in some counties, sales tax collections are down over 20% year over year, putting pressure on basic services like police, fire departments, and public transit. Finally, we're starting to see early signs of fiscal distress. Local governments in tourist-heavy regions are issuing warnings. If tax revenues continue to fall, they may have to dip into emergency funds or request state-level bailouts. That's a red flag. Because when tourism collapses, the fallout doesn't stay in hotels or airports. It spills into classrooms, clinics, and communities. Part 4, the political dimension and future scenarios. So where does this all lead? And what role do politics play in solving or deepening the crisis? Let's start with the obvious. Tourism is political. From visa policies to airline regulations to international diplomacy, the decisions made in Washington have a direct impact on whether travelers choose the U.S. or skip it entirely. In 2025, many countries still face visa backlogs of 6 to 12 months just to visit the U.S. That's a policy problem, not a pandemic problem. And while the Biden administration has increased funding for visa processing, progress has been slow. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump, now a leading candidate for 2025, has promised to reintroduce strict border controls, raise tariffs, and review travel visa categories. Even the discussion of those changes creates uncertainty abroad. International travelers are sensitive to friction, and every policy debate that suggests America is closed for business sends them elsewhere. There's also the narrative challenge. In recent years, the U.S. has struggled with its global image. Mass shootings, political unrest, immigration crackdowns, travel bans. Right or wrong, these headlines shape perception, and perception influences travel. So what's being done? Some states are shifting focus, pouring money into domestic tourism campaigns and offering incentives for visitors from Mexico and Canada. Others are lobbying the federal government to streamline visa processing, expand international flight routes, and offer tax breaks to travel-dependent businesses. But time is running out. If the U.S. doesn't reverse course soon, we could see lasting damage to its global tourism brand. And the longer it takes to recover, the harder it is to regain trust. Tourism habits aren't just economic, they're emotional. Once travelers fall in love with a new destination, they don't come back quickly. If the U.S. becomes a place people used to visit, that label could stick for years. And for states already on the edge, like Hawaii or Nevada, that could mean more than a recession. It could mean a permanent reset in how their economies function. So here we are. 7 U.S. states, California, Florida, Nevada, New York, Hawaii, Oregon, and Michigan, are now standing at a financial crossroads. The 2025 tourism meltdown isn't just a headline. It's a structural threat, a symptom of deeper political, economic, and global shifts that are reshaping how the world sees and visits America. And the consequences are already unfolding. Lost jobs, shrinking budgets, and local economies under stress. The question now isn't just whether tourists will return. It's whether these states can hold on long enough to survive the wait. Because if they can't, what we're watching may not just be a tourism decline. It may be the beginning of something much bigger, something permanent. If you found this breakdown helpful, informative, or even a little concerning, make sure to subscribe for more in-depth, data-driven coverage of the stories that are shaping America behind the headlines. Thanks for watching. Stay informed and stay curious.